Representative, welcome to the program here. A lot of school districts across the state already banned cell phones. Why in the world is this necessary to make this a state law?
Absolutely. Well, most of our school districts do have a policy where cell phones are supposed to be out of sight
Yeah.
in classroom during instructional time. Unfortunately, that burden of enforcement falls upon our teachers once those classroom doors close. And it's a pretty impossible task to ask our teachers to compete with a tiny internet portal with addictive social media on it for kids' time and attention. The mental health crisis that our kids are dealing with is really absolutely shocking. Both as a mom and as an appropriator of, over $100 billion this session to public schools, we kind of have a responsibility to make sure that those classrooms are set up for success, that those teachers and students are set up for success. And we know now that the average teen is spending upwards of 5 hours a day on social media, many of those during classroom time.
Sure.
And mental health, I mean, our kids are committing suicide at record rates. Suicide rates are up 300% among our teens. Self-harm is up 200%, especially among our young girls. And anxiety and depression rates are soaring as well. We know now that that is tied directly to social media use. And so this is just a common sense solution to support our school districts and our teachers in having those phones away for the day.
But this would just be bell to bell phone free. It wouldn't be the entire day. It wouldn't ban anyone under 18 from accessing any of this, right?
So yeah, the idea is the implementation is left up to the school districts, but put it, slip your cell phone into a magnetic locking pouch or something similar at the beginning of the school day, and unlock it at the end of the school day. So the kids still have them in their backpacks or in their lockers, but they're not constantly checking notifications.
Yeah.
They're talking to each other again during passing periods. Lunchrooms are allowed again. And really, the results that we've seen from the school districts who have already invested in this type of system are incredible. I mean, we've seen quality academic time go up. We've seen 100% of teachers in some school districts report better results, better behavior. Bullying is going down, and attention
Hmm.
spans are going up. So, and there's something to be said for just focusing on those interpersonal skills again, right? Like you need those to survive in the real world. And I had a graduating senior who, when I asked for his feedback about this bill, he said, Miss Troxclair, I'm so sad to think about all the conversations I missed during my 4 years of high school
Hmm.
because we were just all glued to our phones. And now I'm, going off to college, and I'm not sure that I'm fully prepared
Wow.
because of that experience. And so when you have your 18-year-old boys and girls telling you this, they are pleading for us to save them from the peer pressure of needing to be on their phones all the time.
Where did this idea come from?
Well, really, I just highly recommend anybody watching to read the book Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. While we as parents know that very clearly addictive cell phone use is challenging our youth, that book really laid out the absolute consequences. I mean, we are putting them in the position of debilitating issues by allowing them to. And you know what? We never really had a community conversation about, okay, is it appropriate or inappropriate that we have these devices out during schools? And I think if you think back to our own childhoods, right, or if you think back to kids now, you would never tell a child, grab your boom box, grab your TV, grab your walkie-talkie, set all the things out on the desk, while just as soon as the teacher's trying to teach. And we've done something even worse. We've sent them to school with these internet portals where people. Yes, it makes them more connected, but it also makes a lot of people in the world more connected to them. So we've also seen, the instances, the number of, 9-year-olds that have been exposed to inappropriate pornographic material skyrocket, because they're in the wide world of the internet. And so,
Yeah.
again, during school hours where they're there to learn math, reading, writing, science, that's what they need to be focused on.
You said this bill is supported overwhelmingly by law enforcement, and it will allow,
Yes.
you said, police to respond more quickly and efficiently to a school emergency. Explain that one because I immediately go back to Uvalde and know that situation and know other situations where students in classrooms have provided valuable information to responding officers.
Sure. Well, as we both know, there was a long list of things that went wrong in that absolute tragedy in Uvalde. Um, and we have done so much since then to make sure that our students and our teachers are safe when they're at school. We've invested in in school security officers, in hardening our schools, and following basic protocols about keeping the doors locked
Right.
and having appropriate emergency response. But at the end of the day, proliferating, debilitating mental illness among our kids is not the way to solve that problem. Um, yeah, it is widely supported by law enforcement because if there is an emergency, first of all, we want to make sure that only accurate information is getting out there, and we've seen a lot of inaccurate information get out there that might not be true. And then when there is an emergency, law enforcement has a hard time getting to the places that they need to be because they get caught in traffic or there's misdirection. And so when you're in those situations, you need students that are listening and paying attention to the teachers in the classrooms. And like I said, if something really needed, if somebody needed it, they could cut open the pouch and have access to it. But at the end of the day, school safety is a priority and it's an issue, and it's not the burden of these kids to solve it. It's our responsibility to make sure our classrooms are safe, regardless of whether or not they have cell phones in them.
Representative, parental choice is a top priority for Republicans and it has been for years. But doesn't this take away the choice of parents who want their students reachable during the day?
Well, of course, there's the kids are still reachable, right? Just like you contact your third grader at school, and again, just like we were all contacted when we were growing up, all the classrooms have landlines. Teachers have cell phones, of course, and the main office at the school can always be called. And that is the proper way to do it. When you look at the statistics of kids getting upwards of 250 notifications a day, many multiple notifications per hour that's taking their attention away from what they're there to do to learn. I think it's very clear that uh, eh, eh, that again, when we're spending the vast majority of our state budget on public schools and excellent education for all kids, we have a basic responsibility to make sure that those classrooms are good learning environments for them. And I think that beyond that, this is an addictive substance that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We are talking about the same thing as saying, well, yeah, why don't we let kids smoke cigarettes at school? There are reasonable regulations around addictive substances for kids with underdeveloped brains. This is one of them, and unfortunately, the technology kind of got out in front of us. I'm grateful that my kids are still young and that I have all this information to know the detrimental effects. And we see the push really at an all-time high from parents to say, yes, help us in making sure help us in protecting our kids. And so I would say the vast overwhelming majority of parents that I've shared this with, they are enthusiastic about it, and excited to make it a reality across the state. There's about 24 school districts in Texas that have already implemented these programs, and again, the results are astounding. Academic performance is going up,
Yeah.
and
There
obviously,
are only 2 dozen though, you said? Only 2 dozen?
yeah. Well, that have I have done bell to bell.
Phone free bell to bell?
Ma- many school districts have just a policy on paper, hey, keep your phones away. But the ones that are really implementing some kind of manila envelope system or a shoe rack over the door or a yonder pouch type system, those school districts at Richardson ISD, Killeen ISD. So we kind of have the data from these pilot programs that really these kids, and even the kids and parents who are initially somewhat hesitant because it's what we've become accustomed to, after about 6 weeks, they come back and say, "Oh my gosh, this is one of the best things that happened." And so it's just resetting the new norm.
Did you model this after Richardson or Killeen ISD's policies, or did you? It was kind of amalgamation of a number of things.
Yeah, we took into account feedback from educators as well as what has worked well in specific school districts. We are going to, one of the things that's really important to me is providing funding for these school districts to implement it. So while some have gone ahead and spent, some money in buying pouches, I want
Hmm.
to come behind them and have the state have their back and provide them financial support as well, because this is when you look at the return on investment, this is one thing where down the line, we are investing in these kids' brains,
Yeah.
and we'll reap the rewards later.
I, I missed the funding aspect of this. How much
Yes.
are you putting out per campus or per district? How does that work?
Well, so we are figuring out, I think it will likely come out of the school safety allotment, because the data is pretty clear that it makes schools safer. And so we're going to set aside whatever amount of money is necessary for these districts to invest. Again, we're not telling them exactly which method to go with,
Yeah.
but we want to make sure that that funding is available to them, regardless of which path they choose to go.
How confident are you this is going to make it through committee onto the floor and on over to the Senate?
I think that we have broad support from both Republicans and Democrats in both the House and the Senate. So I'm optimistic about our chances. And in this building, sometimes there's a lot of partisan issues and divisive
Yeah.
issues. This is one that really bridges across the political spectrum, and so we're already gathering co-authors and signatures of support, and I'm, receiving daily emails of when is this going to be held for a hearing, and how can we help support you in this? So I think the movement is only growing as we get closer to hearing this bill, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that kids are set up for success and that their phones are away for the day.
Representative, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.